Good morning to you. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with me, Natalie Sawyer, and the Rangers legend that is Ali McCoist. England players will now have to wait another week to find out, Ali, if they've made Gareth Southgate's final squad for the Euros.
Yeah, it could be a long week for some of the boys. Southgate was set to name a 26-man squad today. But has delayed
what was that? What?
I'll try it again. Southgate was set to name a 26-man squad today. Right, just for clarification there. And he has delayed it because of his injury problems. For more on Southgate's announcement, we are joined by talkSPORT's England correspondent, assuming she's out the bath, Faye Carruthers.
I am
what
out
a
the bath.
picture, Faye. I've never seen MD look as comfortable in the bath in my life.
I took a well-earned holiday and absolutely maximised the chill time.
Good for
thankfully.
you, man. Did you enjoy it?
I did, thank you. It was lovely. Went down to North Devon and it was gorgeous.
Oh, brilliant.
I'll tell you what then, after probably spending most of yesterday thinking, we've got this announcement tomorrow, you're even probably planning your own 26-man squad,
Yes.
Then you see the announcement around 10 o'clock and you're thinking, I wish I was on holiday still.
Pretty much, yeah. It went a bit busy, but then we kind of expect this when it comes to England. Nothing tends to go particularly smoothly all the time. And yes, I had put my 26-man squad together with a few different permutations and switches about, and yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how many players, in particular Gareth Southgate, chooses to select for this provisional squad at 1 o'clock. We're thinking between 30 and 32 potentially, and when you think about it, it does make sense because they're going to be missing 11 players who are taking part in the Champions League and Europa League finals, and they need training players as well as players for the warm-up matches that they're going to have. So it does make sense, but as you both said earlier on, the timing of it perhaps is what most people can't quite understand.
That's what I thought, Faye. I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all, and Gareth's well within his rights. He's got to do what's best for his team and his squad. I'm just a little bit surprised. I mean, it's not as if we didn't know when the Champions League final was or the Europa League final were, and he obviously knew there was injuries, whether it to Maguire or Pope and Henderson and boys like that. Just a little bit surprised at the timing, but as I say, it's not a move that has surprised me at all.
No, well, I think the injuries have exacerbated it for sure, particularly Calvin Phillips. When you think that Jordan Henderson's had no game time since the end of February, that really only leaves Declan Rice. So he does need to kind of look at that. It perhaps, with Eric Dyer not featuring that heavily for Tottenham this season, not having the greatest season. Obviously, he's a favourite of Gareth Southgate's in terms of previous squads and also versatility, being able to play in the centre of defence as well as, in defensive midfield. So that could be a key reason as well. Lots of reasons as well. He could also have seen a few players that he fancied on Sunday. We're seeing the likes of Ezri Konsa, for example, mentioned as a potential winner in this extended squad. Ben Godfrey as well, because centre-backs, they've just not found something that completely clicks just yet for England, and particularly they don't know with Harry Maguire what's going to happen, and he would be an enormous miss. It's looking positive at the moment, but he would be absolutely key, and we don't know how long it's going to take for him to be back, and certainly the important thing is back to full fitness.
I know, Ali, you were probably asked, like I was yesterday, come up with your 26-man England squad. I found it impossible because there are so many players that you just think, but I'd like that one in there and I'd like that one in there. And so a 32-man squad sounds like a dream. But ultimately, then that has to be slimmed down to 26, Faye. And where do you think his biggest headache is for Gareth Southgate?
Well, it's always been at right back, hasn't it? It's, I mean, it's one of those cliches of embarrassment of riches, but that brings such a headache. As I understand it, all the reports are suggesting Trent Alexander-Arnold and Liverpool haven't been contacted by England, which might suggest he'll be left out. And bearing in mind his form, that's going to upset a lot of people. You would think that Kyle Walker and Kieran Trippier are nailed on, particularly because Kieran Trippier is versatile and can play on the left as well. And Reece James has just been fantastic for Chelsea this season, which, again, as we've heard many times, means Aaron Wan-Bissaka misses out.
It's amazing, isn't it?
I mean, it is.
You touched on it there. I mean, I genuinely, never mind before we move up to centre forward or middle to front, the problems that Gareth's going to have picking the right side, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I said, it's strange for you, I don't know whether you agree. If you're playing against a France or an Mbappe, I actually think Wan-Bissaka might be the one you would want to play there. It's just such a tough decision for Gareth.
Yeah, it really is. I think the only thing going against Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's not been called up before. And, Gareth always wants a squad that gels, that gets on, and that know each other and are comfortable with each other, because it's tournament football at the end of the day, and that's absolutely crucial that you have that right balance in the side, and that's probably the only thing that goes against him at this stage, and that there are just so many players competing for that spot that, unfortunately he just maybe falls just behind. Then again, we might be surprised and he's included as a risk. Nobody expected to see Jude Bellingham called up last time, and he's been a revelation, and I'm sure he's going to be on the final 26 team list.
What about the centre forward position phase? It's straightforward. Is obviously Kane number one, Calvert-Lewin potentially number two, and maybe another couple fighting for it, Watkins, Ings and boys like that?
Yeah, I'm thinking Watkins because he impressed back in March, and I think Gareth's watched a lot of him at Aston Villa this season. He's been impressive. He fits into the squad nicely, and I think Ollie Watkins has got that nailed on. But of course, you can't ever rule out Danny Ings. But unfortunately for Danny Ings, he's not consistent enough in terms of his injuries, and is that worth a risk?
Oh, goodness me. As we say, there are loads of headaches. It's kind of that thing of an embarrassment of riches, and you can't fit everybody into 26. There's also, the centre-back situation as well. Well, obviously, we're sweating over the fitness of Harry Maguire, who's been included in this Europa League squad that's headed out to Gdansk for Manchester United. But if all fit, you would expect to be Maguire and Stones that would start if it's a back four. And then you think, well, if it's a back three, is it Kyle Walker that goes alongside them? Or does he bring in a Connor Cody, for example? Because we know that the Wolves often have played with that system. But then there's a player that I'm so intrigued to know more about, which is Fikayo Tomori, because obviously started the season at Chelsea and was included in the Chelsea squad previously with Frank Lampard last season, and did really, really well. As I say, started the season with Chelsea and then was shipped out on loan to AC Milan. And you're hearing these comments from the greats of Franco Baresi and Paolo Maldini, who are just glowingly talking about him. And for me, I feel like he deserves a chance. He's been called up to England before. He's got one cap to his name. And, he's a runner-up in Serie A. And I wonder how much Gareth Southgate's even seen him.
Well, I'm sure he's seen him, definitely.
But with COVID and everything, he's not been able to go out there and see him as much.
No. He won't have gone to see him, but he'll certainly have had plenty of videos of him. Same with Kieran Trippier. It's so difficult. All the players that are out, Jadon Sancho as well, and Jude Bellingham plying their trade in Europe. But yeah, I'm with you on Fikayo Tomori. Absolutely fantastic for AC Milan this season, and yeah, it would be fascinating to see what he could do for England, and a youngster as well coming through. But again, I think it just might be too early. I think there are some players who just benefit from this squad being announced a year late, if you like. Mm-hmm. I thought he might be one of them, but perhaps because he's abroad and the situation that we're in, that might mean he misses out. But he's certainly one to watch.
Faye, you're going to have a very interesting afternoon. So good luck with it all, and I'm sure you'll be bringing us right up to date with everything once it's all announced. So thank you.
Thanks,
Faye.
Take care.
See you soon.
Good morning.
Have a good morning too. It's going to be an exciting afternoon and a busy one for Faye and everyone else, and talkSPORT will keep you right up to date with who Gareth Southgate names in that provisional squad. Okay, Ali, we'll take another break. This is talkSPORT Breakfast with Ali McCoy, Natalie Sawyer. Don't forget Darren Bent's with us from 8 as well.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.